My wife said, "I found someone healthier." I replied, "Thank you for being clear." Then I walked out of therapy, packed my things, blocked her number, and started a new life. Months later, she showed up begging for forgiveness, but what I told her left everyone speechless. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I've always been the kind of guy who believes in putting in the work for a relationship. My parents modeled that for me. They didn't always agree, but they stuck things out, communicated, and tried to build each other up. That's the type of partner I wanted to be. So when Emily suggested couples therapy, I thought it was mature, responsible even. We weren't in a crisis, or at least I didn't think we were. Sure, she had been distant lately, spending more time on her phone, acting a little sharper with her words, canceling plans at the last minute, but I chalked it up to stress. She was working long hours, juggling too much. I figured therapy could give us tools to handle it better. One night, she brought it up while we were cleaning up after dinner. She had this serious expression, arms crossed like she'd been rehearsing. "Mark, I just feel like we're not connecting lately," she said, setting her wine glass down a little too hard. "It's like we're roommates. Therapy could help us, get back to how we used to be." I rinsed the dishes and glanced at her. "Roommates? I didn't realize you felt that way. I thought we were okay." Her eyes narrowed like I'd said the wrong thing. "That's the problem. You never notice when something's wrong. You just keep going like everything's fine. I need more passion, more emotion. You're too safe." The word stung, but I swallowed it. If therapy helps us talk through that, then let's do it. She gave me this small smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Good, because I don't want to keep going like this. I need change. At the time, I took her words as an olive branch. She cared enough to try, right? If she wanted to invest in therapy, it meant she saw a future with me. That's what I told myself as I went to bed that night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I had really been as blind as she said. Over the next week, I noticed more comments like that slipping into our conversations. When I got home from work and asked about her day, she sighed. "You always ask the same question. Don't you have anything real to say?" When I suggested a movie night, she rolled her eyes. "Predictable. I want excitement, Mark. You never just surprise me." It wasn't like she was yelling or outright cruel, but the tone, the dismissiveness, it was death by 1,000 cuts. I started second-guessing myself. Was I really that boring, that emotionally unavailable? Still, I held on to the idea of therapy as a lifeline. We'd sit in a room with a professional, talk it out, get some perspective. I wanted to believe it would be good for us because the alternative that she already had one foot out the door was something I didn't want to face yet. I walked into the therapist's office that Tuesday evening with cautious optimism. Neutral-colored walls, a soft rug, a faint smell of peppermint tea, the kind of place that whispers safe space. The therapist, a middle-aged woman named Dr. Green, greeted us warmly. "I'm glad you both are here. Seeking help is already a positive sign." I glanced at Emily. She sat with her legs crossed, posture straight, hands folded neatly in her lap, perfectly composed. I thought she looked almost smug, but maybe I was projecting. We settled onto the couch. Dr. Green opened her notepad. "Why don't we start with what brought you both in today? Emily, since you initiated this, would you like to begin?" Emily didn't hesitate. She inhaled, exhaled, and then dropped the grenade. "I've been seeing someone else." The words hit harder than any punch. My chest tightened, but my face stayed neutral. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Dr. Green freeze, pen hovering above her paper. Emily continued, voice steady like she'd rehearsed every syllable. "I didn't want to just break up with Mark out of the blue. I thought therapy could be a healthier environment to talk about it. I care about him, but I found someone who meets my emotional needs in ways he doesn't." Silence hung in the air. Dr. Green blinked. "So, you're saying you're currently in a relationship with someone else?" Emily nodded without shame. "Yes, he's more in touch with his feelings, more spontaneous. He makes me feel alive. I needed a safe way to explain this to Mark without it turning into a fight." My jaw tightened, but I stayed still. I wanted to laugh at the irony. She was calling this a safe way, sitting in a stranger's office, ambushing me, trying to paint herself as noble. Dr. Green cleared her throat. Emily, typically couples come here to work on their partnership, not to announce a new one. Do you see a future with Mark at all? Emily tilted her head, almost pitying. No, not in the way he probably wants. I mean, he's stable, reliable, but he's closed off. He doesn't challenge me. It's like living in a padded room, comfortable but suffocating. I finally spoke, my voice calm. You could have told me at home. Her eyes flicked to me, searching for anger. Finding none. I didn't want you to explode or twist my words. I wanted a mediator here to keep things civil. I nodded slowly. Right, civil. Dr. Green shifted uncomfortably. Mark, how are you feeling hearing this? I took a breath, steady and deliberate. I think I understand everything I need to. I turned to Emily. Thank you for being clear, saves me time. Her composure faltered for the first time, just slightly. That's all you're going to say. I stood up, buttoned my jacket. What else is there? You've made your choice. I'll make mine. Dr. Green looked like she wanted to intervene, but I gave her a polite nod. Thank you, doctor. Sorry for the wasted session. And then I walked out. No raised voice, no questions about the other man, no begging for details. Just the sound of my shoes on the hallway carpet as I left that office and left her behind. Outside, the evening air felt sharper, cleaner than it had in weeks. I didn't text her, didn't wait for her to come home. That night, I slept on a friend's couch, and by the next day, my things were packed into my car. She had staged her little performance, but she didn't get the reaction she wanted, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was the one in control. I didn't go back to the apartment after that session. Not that night, not ever. Instead, I drove straight to my friend Daniel's place. He didn't even ask questions when I showed up with a duffel bag, just handed me a beer and cleared off the couch. Later, when I told him what happened, he just shook his head. She used therapy to dunk you. That's cold, man. Cold was an understatement. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the way she choreographed it. Like she'd wanted an audience, a script, a chance to make me the unfailing robot while she played the brave truth-teller. I spent the next couple of days in a fog running on autopilot. Packed my things during her work hours. Left my keys on the counter, blocked her number. No fights, no messy scenes, just gone. But silence has a way of echoing louder than words. Within a week, mutual friends started reaching out. Some gently, some not so much. Hey, Emily told us what happened. She said she tried to be honest with you in therapy because you don't handle conflict well. Maybe give her some credit for that. Man, she just wanted clarity. At least she didn't string you along, right? One even said, you're kind of proving her point by just disappearing. It's like you shut down instead of dealing with stuff. I bit my tongue every time. They only knew her version. The curated narrative where she was the brave woman choosing honesty and I was the stoic block of wood who couldn't keep up. The truth that she'd been sleeping with someone else for God knows how long and used a therapy session as a stage to justify it didn't make it into her story, but I didn't correct them. I didn't campaign for sympathy. I just nodded, said, I hear you, and went back to my own life at night lying on Daniel's couch. I'd replay her words in my head, stable, reliable, closed off, suffocating. She'd twisted my loyalty into a flaw, my steadiness into a prison. Part of me wanted to rage. To text her and demand answers. But every time I picked up my phone, I pictured her smirk in that office, the satisfaction of seeing me unravel, and I refused to give her that. So I stayed quiet, dignified, detached, because if she thought stability was boring, then silence would be unbearable. Months passed. By then, I got in my own apartment. Nothing flashy, just a clean, quiet place with a balcony where I could drink coffee in the mornings without someone nitpicking my every habit. Life settled into something steady again. Work, gym, weekends with friends. Simple, but mine, Emily. She didn't stay silent for long. The first ripple came through social media. Mutual friends who had once defended her suddenly started dropping little hints, a picture of her looking a little too tipsy, a post about new beginnings with no mention of who the new beginning was with. Then whispers her new guy. Yeah, he's kind of a train wreck. I didn't ask. I didn't need details, but they came anyway. Turns out her passionate, spontaneous boyfriend was also broke, erratic, and had a bad habit of disappearing for days. The same spontaneity she'd found so thrilling in the beginning turned out to mean he couldn't hold down a job, couldn't pay rent, couldn't even keep his promises. One mutual friend slipped up and told me she'd confided that he wasn't who she thought he was. No kidding. Meanwhile, the therapist she had dragged me into, I kept going. Not with Emily, obviously, just on my own, and here's the irony. The guy she tried to paint as emotionally stunted, I was the one actually doing the work, sitting in that chair. For week after week, unlearning old habits, figuring out what I wanted from life instead of just being the safe option for someone else. While she was unraveling, I was building. The final twist came almost a year later. A buddy of mine ran into her at a coffee shop. She was alone, looked exhausted, and asked about me specifically. Is he seeing anyone? Does he talk about me? My friend just shrugged and changed the subject, but he told me later with this grin. Man, she looked like she regretted everything. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to because by then her opinion didn't matter. She'd chosen her chaos and I'd chosen my peace. Funny thing is, stability looks a lot sexier when you've been burned by someone who thinks instability is exciting. And Emily, well, she learned that the hard way. It's funny how much life opens up when you cut dead weight. After Emily, I threw myself into routine, not to numb myself, but to rebuild. Therapy became my anchor. 3 sessions a month, no excuses. At first, it felt weird sitting there without her, but slowly it shifted from patching wounds to building something new. I started running again, signed up for a half marathon just to have a goal. Training became addictive. The miles cleared my head in a way nothing else did. By the time race day came around, I crossed that finish line lighter, stronger, and with a grin on my face that I hadn't worn in years. Work picked up too. I'd been steady and reliable long enough that my boss started trusting me with bigger projects. 6 months after the breakup, I landed a promotion I hadn't even asked for. The kind of role that came with more pay, more flexibility, and most importantly, respect. That's when people started noticing. The same friends who had once told me I was cold or shut down started making offhand comments. Man, you look good, been working out. You seem lighter these days. I didn't brag. I didn't overshare. I just let the results speak for themselves. And then there was Rachel. We met at a mutual friend's dinner party. Nothing planned, nothing forced. She laughed at my dry jokes, asked real questions instead of fishing for validation, and actually listened. No games, no comparisons, just 2 people enjoying each other's company. We started seeing each other slowly, hiking on weekends, cooking dinners together, late-night conversations that didn't feel like interrogations. She never once made me feel like my calm was a flaw. In fact, she said it was the thing she valued most. Being with you feels safe, she admitted one night. Not boring safe, like I can breathe. That hit me hard because that was exactly what Emily used to call suffocating. The contrast was blinding. I wasn't the problem. I never had been. I'd just been with someone who didn't appreciate what I offered. With Rachel, stability wasn't a prison. It was the foundation for trust, growth, and dare I say it, real passion. And while I built something healthy, Emily was busy dealing with the fallout of her choices. I didn't hear details, but every so often her name would pop up in conversation followed by the same word mess. I didn't chase updates. I didn't need to because for the first time in a long time my life was moving forward and hers was stuck in reverse. It started small. A text on a random Tuesday. Emily, hey, just wondering how you've been. It's been a while. I ignored it. 2 days later, Emily, I heard you got promoted. Congrats. You always were so driven, still ignored. Then came the phone calls, unknown number blocked. Then emails, then a handwritten note in my mailbox. Of all things, like we were in some soap opera. The note read, "I miss you. I made a mistake. Ben isn't who I thought he was. He's unstable, controlling, sometimes scary. I should have appreciated what we had. Please, can we talk?" I folded it once and dropped it straight into the trash. But she didn't stop. One Saturday morning, she showed up at my building. Rachel and I had just gotten back from a run, sweat-drenched and laughing, when Emily walked up like she belonged there. Her eyes flicked from me to Rachel, and the polite smile on Rachel's face made her flinch. "Wow," Emily said, voice dripping with fake casualness. "You move on fast." I kept my tone level. "What are you doing here? I wanted to talk. Just us, please." "No." Rachel slipped her hand through mine, sensing the tension but staying silent. I respected that. Emily's composure cracked after everything we had. "You won't even give me 5 minutes. He ruined me. I don't even have a place to stay right now." I didn't flinch. That's not my problem. For the first time, she looked small, deflated, like all that smug superiority she'd once thrown at me had collapsed under its own weight. She left, but not gracefully. "You'll regret this." She snapped as she walked away. "No one will love you the way I did." Rachel gave me a side glance once she was gone. "She's right, she teased gently, "because I plan to love you better." That was the first time I laughed about Emily. A month later, the last attempt came. It was at a mutual friend's engagement party. Rachel and I arrived together, me in a tailored suit, her glowing in a simple black dress. We were happy, steady, unbothered. Emily was already there alone. She tried to avoid us at first, but alcohol loosened her nerves. Halfway through the night, she cornered me by the bar. "You look good," she said, eyes darting between me and Rachel across the room. "Better than ever." "She doesn't deserve you." I tilted my head. "Funny, that's almost exactly what you said about me when you left." She winced. "I was wrong. I was stupid. I thought I wanted excitement, but all I got was chaos. You were the only person who actually cared about me. Can't we just try again?" I let her words hang there, not rushing. Then I answered with the calm that had once annoyed her so much. "No, we're not trying again. I gave you everything, Emily. You treated it like it was nothing. Now it is nothing to me. You don't get a second chance to discover my worth." Her face twisted, half pleading, half angry. "So that's it. You're just going to throw me away like trash." I set my glass down. "You threw me away. I just didn't chase the garbage truck after." I walked back to Rachel without looking back. Later, I saw Emily slip out of the party early. Eyes red, shoulders hunched. No one followed her. No one comforted her. That was the last time I ever saw her. And the best part, I didn't feel anger or pity or even satisfaction. I felt nothing because she was nothing to me now. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story?